Hi, I'm Gerard Saylor of the OD Fargo Public Library in beautiful downtown Lake Mills, Wisconsin. There's a blogger named of Patty Abbott who is a big-time crime and mystery reader. And on her blog, every Friday she has a feature called Forgotten Books, and she'll put down a book that she really likes but she thinks has been largely forgotten over the past 3 years. And she'll have other people who do this as well, and they all kind of join in on this and highlight some of their favorite books that they think have been kind of forgotten. And I have one. Actually, I have three on hand here, all by an author named Donald Harstad. There's The Big Thaw, what is this, Code 61, and Known Dead. And I think there's a fourth one as well that I didn't have handy on the shelf. And Harstad hasn't written a book in like 5 years at least. And I keep waiting for one to come out. I keep looking at the pre-publication notices to see if anything's going to be coming out. I check online, but the guy doesn't have an email that I could find. He doesn't have a web page. He doesn't have a blog. And I don't know what's going on with this guy, but these are all really good books. They all feature Deputy Sheriff Carl Houseman. He's a deputy sheriff in a rural county in northeastern Iowa. And it's really neat because it's a rural mystery in this small department, and he's one of the senior officers there. And he does everything. He does lots of burglary investigations. He pulls people over for speeding. He does some supervisory capabilities. And then, of course, there's always these big crimes that come up in the novels. Some of them have this terrorism angle for domestic terrorism. One of them has a guy who's a murderer who thinks he's a vampire, and Houseman is trying to track this guy down. And they all have a neat bit of realism. And usually when somebody is trying to add realism to a crime novel, to me it seems like what that means to the writer is that they're trying to add realism by making it gritty, making it just kind of dirty and dreary with lots of cynicism and blood and guts and gore and just really bad people. And I like this because it's much more realistic. Because it's a novel, things kind of move along and there's quite a bit of unbelievability in real life, but it does pretty well. Now, like I said, I don't have any idea if he's still writing books, and I do the Google every now and again for Harstad, Darn Harstad, that's the author, but I never find anything. And so what I'm going to do, I'm going to call him. Hopefully he's home. Hopefully I got the number right. Let's see. He lives in Iowa, over in, well, it doesn't matter where he lives. Maybe he'll let me put the speakerphone on if he's home. Hi, I'm calling from Lake Mills, Wisconsin. I was trying to reach Don Harstad. Maybe. I was actually calling. I'm a fan of his novels. I didn't know if he had any more coming out. Okay, well, thank you very much. I appreciate it. You betcha. Bye. Well, he's not there. His wife answered the phone, and I'm going to call tomorrow at 11. So I'll stop the cameras here, and then I'll turn them back on again, and I'll be wearing a different shirt. Okay, so Mr. Harstad was not home, but his wife was home, and he wasn't going to be back until about 7 o'clock yesterday evening, so she said he'd be home at around 11, which it is on the dot, so I'm going to give him another call. Hopefully he'll be willing to talk. I'll put it on the speakerphone. Hopefully the sound will work. It usually does when I've done these before. Stupid phone. Just be patient. Hi, my name's Gerard Saylor. I was trying to reach Don Harstad, please. Okay, hold on a second. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I don't know if you know who Patty Abbott is, but she does a lot of kind of online stuff. She's a big mystery and kind of thriller reader. And every Friday she has this section that she does called Forgotten Books, like books that have been done like 5 or more years ago, and she thinks have kind of slid by the wayside and people don't remember them. And I got to thinking about that because I really liked your books.
Oh, okay.
and nothing new had been coming out. And I keep looking and wondering, and I'm what's the status?
Well, I have, I think now 3 that haven't been published here in the U.S. The French have been publishing them. What happened was my last publisher went belly up, and when he didn't even get a paperback out.
Oh.
Normally, my sales of paperbacks per book are around 300,000 or something in the U.S., and this time they went to 0 on that book because they went belly up.
Yeah.
And now the numbers are down, and publishing houses are going, well, the numbers are down. Yes, but. So anyway, my agent is fighting his way through that. My new agent is fighting his way through that. In the meantime, the French have published one that hasn't been published here, and I think maybe getting ready to publish another one.
Oh, that's pretty neat.
Yeah, but it's strange. And I was talking to my French publisher, and I said, could you maybe, bring it back in English, coming this way? And he said, oh, the translation costs. And I said, I sent it to you in English. So it's all communications. But anyway, I keep writing. I'm going to start another one probably in a couple of weeks.
Are these all the same character with Houseman?
All but one.
All but
yes.
one? Well, one of the things...
One of them is a standalone about a guy who's a little crazy. But the rest of them are the Houseman books.
Is a standalone a cop novel, or...?
He's a retired cop, and he decides to send a message. He thinks nobody is responsible for the economy, and he thinks it's all members of boards that are doing this. He does his research in the library because he's retired. And he figures the only way to send a message is to kill one of them, and so he does. And it's kind of complicated how he gets to that point, but it's early on in the book. And he thinks this dead body is going to be the message. Well, what happens is, what he doesn't know is this very important CEO type person that he just knocked off had his mistress in the cabin where he shoots him. He didn't know it because he shoots the guy outside. So everybody's thinking it's a 3-way love triangle thing, and the guy's going, "Damn, I'm gonna have to kill another one." So it's kind of like that, but it's. He starts off, he's crazy by the end. He starts off sounding kind of reasonable, and it's like a lot of people I dealt with. They sound reasonable at first glance, but you've got them in jail because they just shot somebody, and
right.
You listen to them, and pretty soon, the little kind of off, comes through. So
right.
That's what I tried to do with him.
Well, that's one of the things I liked about those Houseman books is that I've lived in a couple small towns. I do now. And it's neat that he's dealing with all this, to what to a big city cop might just be kind of rinky-dink stuff. He has to do everything.
Yep.
And I always like that about the books. On one hand, he's got domestic terrorism and this idiot who thinks he's a vampire, and on the other hand, he has to take care of prowler calls.
Yes. And mailbox vandalism. That's big in one of them too now. Yeah, it's in fact, I think the one I just finished, one of the things that just plagues him through the book is these 3 kids in their pickup truck that drive around with a railroad tie attached to the bumper, knocking over mailboxes. And Carl gets to work, and he's all set to get to go on this murder thing, and he's got like 68 mailbox cases.
There's a guy here in Wisconsin. I know him a little bit, and he's sunk an I-beam into concrete because he was having so much trouble with it.
Cool. Well, we caught some kids. What they did is they took a railroad tie and they welded brackets on the front of this old pickup, and they would just slip the railroad tie in and drive along the shoulder of the road and knock off mailboxes. We caught them in the act finally, but they would do 35 or 40 a night.
Wow.
What in the hell? What's the fun? I mean, it's hard to understand, I think.
Well, at least they're being industrious.
Yes. Putting their evil little minds to work.
Yeah. I'm limited on the time I could do on these videos. I put them up on YouTube. First off, I'm just glad that you got the books, and hopefully they'll be coming out soon. Do you usually... I have them all in hardcover. I'm surprised. I didn't even know they were in paperback.
Oh, yeah. They're in 9 languages now, I think, in about 20 countries. And paperback sales are really, really good. They're also on Kindle now, I understand.
Oh, good. Yeah, I've got a... we're actually running a writer's workshop upstairs right now, and Joe Conrath is one of the presenters, and he's really big on the Kindle.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, the author gets a pretty good cut, and people see. I mean, if it's a whole new medium that people are using, and that's fine. In fact, I think that it's going to be possible to get a couple of these on Kindle fairly quickly. So we'll see the unpublished ones. So.
Oh, that'd be that. Do you retain rights to the old ones, or?
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Because I know that's what some authors have been doing. They retain the rights, and they just figure, well, heck, I'll put it up on the Kindle and take all the money.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. Is it one last question before I run out of my time limit here? Did you ever have trouble selling it as selling the books as Iowa books?
Only at first. It took 8 years to sell them.
Wow.
Yeah. And it was just one of those, gee, it's not set in New York. How can we possibly do this? Type things.
I heard that before from somebody who wrote books. This was in Arizona. And she had the same problem. She would take it to the publishing houses, and it wasn't set in New York, Los Angeles, or Chicago, and they didn't want to buy it.
Yep, that's exactly right.
Yeah, but then you're selling in 20 countries, and I'm thinking...
Yes. It's strange, isn't it?
Yeah, it is strange. Well,
yeah,
that's...
I was the bestseller in the UK, for heaven's sake.
Oh, my goodness. For how many books?
I think one.
Yeah.
I think one made it to two. Was it W.H. Smith or something? It was in the top 10 for them for a long time, too.
Yeah. And, well, in the UK, if I understand it right, they always have this kind of rural mindset. Everybody lives in the cities, but they all think of themselves as kind of rural English.
Yes.
And so I would think that would make sense to me that the rural setting would go over well there.
I was over there signing books once, and there was some bobbies standing on the corner as I came out. And, of course, they had my books and my picture in the window of this bookstore.
Yeah.
And one of them said, hey, bloody hell, it's them, and we talked for a minute. And he said, how big is the county that you really worked in? And I told him how big it was. He said, my God, that's twice the size of London.
Yeah.
And I pointed across the street. I said, yeah, but it's got the population of that building over there.
How many officers were in your sheriff's department?
We started off with 5, and by the time I was done 24 years later, we'd gotten to 8.
So you have at least one guy on duty.
Well, you tried to do that, yeah. And it was usually, they would call the night shift out.
Yeah.
If somebody was shooting somebody in the daytime, those guys just didn't want to handle that kind of stuff, so they called the night shift out for that.
All right. Well, thank you very much for talking to me on the phone. I'm really glad to know that you're still writing and getting them sold too.
Me too. I did, but it's fun, and I would be doing it even if they weren't going to sell.
Well, that's even better news. All right. Well, thanks a lot. I'm going to put this up on the YouTube. If you just do a search, you'll be able to find it in a day or two once I get it stuck up there.
Okay. Very good.
All right. Thanks a lot for talking to me.
Thank you.
All right. Have a good day. Bye.
You too.
So that's Carl Houseman, Iowa. I'm Gerard Saylor. That's What's to Read. 3 books, Code 61, The Big Thaw, and Known Dead. And I'm thinking there's a 4th one, but I can't remember what the title is. Anyway, you can look it up on your own. I'm Gerard Saylor. That's What's to Read from Lake Mills, Valley Fargo Public Library in beautiful downtown Lake Mills, Wisconsin.